Hello everyone, this is my channel HUMBLEHUS. If you have been following me for a while now, you know that I love to make headbands. And usually I make them for my little one, but my husband was the one that said, why don't you make them for the boys too? And of course that is what I did. So this headband, of course, is for anybody, any size, you decide. I will be putting up the headband sizing guide. It is only a reference because everyone's head circumference is different so that you can get an idea of what size you need and then make your own headband. Let me tell you what you need for this project. For my summer projects, I love this yarn by Lion Brand Yarn. It is the Nubu. It is 100% Lyocell. And it's just soft and stretchy and plant-based. So I will be using this one, but in a different color. This is a medium 4 weight, and the recommended hook size is a 5.5 millimeter hook. I will be using a different hook size. I am going to size it down to a 4.5 millimeter hook or a G7. You can use the hook size that you like. Also, I always have on hand scissors, stitch markers, or paper clips if you don't have any stitch markers, a measuring tape, and a yarn needle to sew in those ends. Now the stitch that we're using today is called the Trinity stitch. All you have to do when you're thinking about how long you're going to make your headband is that your base chain is in multiples of 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. Now, as a reference, the headband that I made for my son, his head circumference is almost 23 inches, not quite. For my base chain, I did 90 chains, which is about 21 inches. Especially with this yarn, you want to make the headband about 1.5 inches to 2 smaller than the head circumference because it is very stretchy, as you can tell. Let's start with the base chain. We are going to do a slip knot first, and for that you need to make a loop with your yarn. Grab your hook, insert into the middle of that loop, then take that loose end, put your thumb on it, and then carefully grab a hold of both ends and pull in opposite directions. Then adjust it onto the hook by pulling on one side. There, you don't want it too tight or too loose. Now to chain, all you have to do is yarn over and pull it through that loop. That is one chain. Again, yarn over and pull through that loop. Yarn over and pull through that loop. So in order to make it, and simply continue until you have the desired number of chains. Now remember to do it in multiples of 2. I have now a total of 78 chains for the headband that I am making, which is for my daughter. She has a head circumference of about 21 inches and she's only 2.5. So it's on the bigger side. So that's why I'm saying, the sizing guide is very relative. I have those 78 chains, and this is about, let me tell you how long it is. So it's about 19 inches long. Now that you have the number that you need and the length that you need, you are going to add one more chain because we're going to be working into that chain. And now you add one more chain. Okay, this is just for the base chain. That means I have a total of 80 chains. From your hook, you're going to count. So you have this first chain, and then you get to the second chain. That is the one that you're going to work your first single crochet into, okay? Into this second chain from your hook. Insert your hook through that loop, then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. This is where I'm going to add my first stitch marker. So I am going to go right through those 2 loops, just so I remember where I started. Then you are going to work once again into that same stitch So insert your hook. Here's like a little. Okay, so insert your hook, then yarn over and pull up a loop. Then go into the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then go once again into the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You're going to have 4 loops in total, so yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Now chain 1. And let's move on. So this last stitch that you just work into, after that chain 1, you're going to insert your hook once again in there. Insert your hook through there. That's where your next stitch is always going to start, in that same one as the previous stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, move on to the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and into the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4. Now chain 1. I will show it to you one more time. So you start in that same stitch as the previous one, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, go on to the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and into that next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Now chain 1. That is all you're going to do until you get to the end of this row. I will meet you at the end of it. I am almost at the end of row number 1. So I did my last stitch, well, almost last stitch, and then I have 2 chains left. So I'm going to start my last stitch. 1, 2, and 3, so that I have those 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Now, very important, in this last one, you're not going to chain 1. Okay, all you're going to do is go back into that last chain right here and do 1 single crochet. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, now if this widens a little bit like that, just pull on that loose end. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to start row number 2. So for row number 2, so you chained this one and you want to go into this first stitch and do 1 single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. You can add a stitch marker here as well if you like, right there, through that single crochet, if you want to keep track of where that second row started. Now into the same stitch, you're going to start once again by inserting your hook, yarn over, pull up 1 loop. Now you're going to go into that next stitch and insert your hook through both of those loops, then yarn over and pull up a loop, and then this next stitch is that chain from the previous row, that chain in between. So you need to kind of wiggle your way into that chain. Let me see if I can get it there with my yarn needle. There. So there's that chain space. That's where you need to insert your hook, also through both of those loops. You see there's two. Yarn over and pull up a loop. So now that you have your 4 loops, you yarn over and pull through all 4. So now you chain 1 again, and then we start again. Let me put this down. So you're going to work again into the stitch that you worked into. Then this is that second one, and then you have that chain from the previous row, that small kind of looking stitch. And repeat. Repeat. So you're going in here, in there, and into that small one to create your stitch. You are going to continue this until you get to the end of the row, and I will meet you there. I am almost at the end of row number 2, and I wanted to show you. So I have my stitch marker all the way over here, and I still have, so I am going to work once into the same stitch, of course, then that next one right here, and my third one is the one where the stitch marker is in. That's why it's helpful to have those stitch markers, but it's not a must. If you don't have a stitch marker in or a paper clip, almost looks like it's just a knot. Sometimes a little bit hard to distinguish. So there's my last stitch. Remember, you do not chain. After this stitch, all you do is a single crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, chain 1, turn your work, and we will work our first single crochet into this space. All right, so this will be my 3rd row. You can continue to do as many rows as you like. Now, to give you an idea, the one that my son is wearing is about 2.5 inches wide. After I am done, I will show you how to join the 2 ends of the headband. I have now finished the amount of rows that I wanted to do. This headband for my daughter measures about 1.5 inches. After that last single crochet stitch at the end of that last row, I'm going to chain 1. Now take the 2 ends. Make sure your headband is not twisted. Now I'm going to go into that first stitch on this side and find the corresponding one on the other side. Then I'm going to yarn over and do a single crochet. Now go into that next stitch and find the one across, and once again do a single crochet. So all you're going to do is single crochet until you get to the other side. And there you have it. This is what it looks like. Now I am going to cut off this yarn. After I cut it off, I'm going to chain 1 and pull it through that loop, tighten that. Now take the 2 ends and make a couple of knots. This is where you're going to need your yarn needle. And now we are going to thread them through, kind of going back and forth. Take one of the yarns so that I can make some knots. Once again, turn it inside out. So, and there's your finished headband, ready to go for your little ones, your teens, your older kids, adults, or anyone in the family. I hope you had fun making it. Please follow me on Instagram and tag me with your work. As always, I would love to see what you're making. And I will see you next time here on my channel, HUMBLEHUS. Bye!